Okay, hello there, I'm Dennis. Welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to install Arch Linux, but we're going to use the guide that's freely available from Mr. Eznix at the EZArcher project. And we'll go over some more details of that, but I used the guide itself to actually install it on this system that we're looking at right now. If you've been watching my videos, I've did several now on the EZArcher, and that was installed basically using the Calamaris installer. So this time I booted up to a fresh ISO, XFCE ISO. Once I booted into it, I found his guide and installed it, copied and pasted, and installed the system that we're looking at right now. So let's get started with that. Okay, so before we get started here, let's just do a summary. This is Mr. Eznix's EZArch SourceForge projects page. Here's the OSDN net page. And here's also Eznix OS, which is a Debian respin, and it has the XFCE and Plasma desktop build. So I went here and I went to Files. To start with, I clicked on ISO and I downloaded it here, the XFCE one right here, updated on the 8th. Also, right here in the guides on the web page, this is the one I'm using right here, the Arch install UEFI GPT text, and you'll see that in this video in the beginning, because when you boot into a ISO of the EZArcher, regardless of the flavor, you'll have this script available to you, and you'll see, I'll show you where we put that at. Before we get started though, if you're on a laptop, for instance, and using Wi-Fi, then when you first boot into your Arch Linux distribution, you may not be able to, or first boot up an Arch Linux ISO, you may not be able to connect to the internet. Now, this is not on a live environment, because this stuff is already, all you have to do is find your Wi-Fi source and give it the password and you're good to go. But if you're booting into the straight Arch ISO, you'll have to run IWCTL command, and I'll make sure this link gets in the description because it may help you. You just type in IWCTL, it'll change your prompt to this, device list, so on and so on. One thing I found interesting, and I'm going to try the next time I have to use IWCTL, is you can actually do all of that right from the command line without even doing none of these steps if you already know what your device is and your SSID and your passphrase. All right, let me get started here. So I put it in Kdenlive so that we could speed through some of this stuff if we needed to. And we'll just start right here. I'll put this in full screen, and I've booted into the ISO. I've downloaded Simple Screen Recorder, and I've got that going. If you run a cat etcos release, you'll see this is the EZArcher. Now, in your home folder, you'll see the EZArcher guides, and here's the guide we're using right here. All right, so if you got a keyboard that's other than the US, you'll need to follow steps 1 here and set your default keyboard. Now, I run a LSBOK, so you can see the disk is listed as SDA, but it already has 4 partitions on it, and that's because it run the EZArcher installed by the Calamaris installer. But today I'm going to burn over that hard drive, and we're going to install Arch Linux using Mr. Eznix's guide. Now, this command right here checks the FE or EFI vars folder to see if an EFI system or a BIOS system. So the first thing you're going to do is set the time date CTL, and I didn't realize I wasn't en route yet, but I will. All right, so the Arch Linux keyring, we're going to go ahead and just do a quick sync. Can't perform this. Now I'm going, So let me sign in as super user. Give it the password, which is tour, TOOR. Now let's run a sync. We're going to update or install the newest Arch Linux keyring. And this is going to be mostly just copy and paste. That's how simple this is. I did put a Z flag in this cf disk command. That's to zap out any other partitioning table. But here I can skip forward what I've done here. So we got 4 partitions: SDA1, which is the EFI, SDA2, which is the root partition, SDA3, which is the swap partition, and SDA4 is the home partition. Run an LSBLK, and that'll show the disk partitions, but now they need a file system. So on SDA1, which is an EFI partition, we're going to make a FAT32 file system, or VFAT. Now we're going to change that 3 to a 2 because my root folder is on SDA2. Said it contained a swap system, we're going to say do it anyway. And it picked up that SDA2 was the swap earlier. We're going to make same thing on SDA4. Said it contained a file system. Are you sure you want to continue? That is correct. Next thing, we're going to make some swap. And just to verify that the swap is 8 gigabytes on SDA3. All right, we're going to turn that swap on, SDA3. Right. Clear the screen. Now it's time to mount the partitions. So we're going to mount SDA2 to MNT, and I'll change that here. That's one of the beauties of having a guide here. You can change this to meet whatever requirements or needs that you want. And you see I'm just copying and pasting. I made an EFI directory for the EFI partition. Now we'll mount that directory to that partition. Make a directory for /home. So we're going to mount SDA4 to mount home. Now we should see they're all mounted. Nice. Now we're ready to install some base packages using Packstrap. I'll paste that into the terminal. And I'm going to add WPA supplicant. And I found out later it's down below in another list to be installed, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in here now. And also I'm going to point out this is the Linux kernel. That'll be important in a minute. Well, a few minutes. All right, so this one's going to take a minute. Just, I'm looking to see what's coming up next here. And we're going to get a network manager applet there. So I'm going to fast forward or skip forward. The next thing we're going to do is generate a file system table. Skipping forward. All right, it's about finished here. We'll go ahead and start that back. All right, that is finished. Packstrap complete. Now we got to run a file system table. Generate a file system table. We're going to cat that out just to make sure that they are there and listed. Now we're going to arch to root it over to /MNT. Up until this time, we've been working off of the ISO or the burned image. Now we're on the actual hard drive. So now we're going to configure our time zone. I've already changed this to America, Chicago. That's America and then Central Time Zone. You make your selection here. He says right there where they're at, or it's listed right there if you want to see where the locations are at. Now, because I'm in America, it is English_US period UTF-8. We're just put all that in now. Make sure it's listed. That's for a locale and currency, time zone, all that stuff. So you see how easy this is. All I'm doing is copying and pasting. And I did select my EZArcher set my host name as capital EZARCH. Now we're going to edit our host plural file, and I've already edited this where it shows EZArch. You have a static IP address, which means a permanent IP address. They recommend you actually put that here instead of the 127.0.1.1. All right, now the root or password for the root user, PASSWD. I'll enter that twice, confirming it. Now we're going to add a user. And I'm pretty sure if you go through this and you go through the Arch Wiki, you'll see this is very much in line. All right. Password for the new user, which is Dennis. Now we're going to edit our sudoers file. Give Dennis the super user privileges to run pacman command or any other commands requiring super user privileges. Now you could type in or copy this by sudo. It's the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing, but it's approached a little different. Capital editor equals nano by sudo, and that's the same place. You'll notice it says sudoers.tmp. We're going to remove that octathorpe from the wheel all. I'm going to exit out of there. And we'll sync the databases one more time. And we're going to install Grub, EFI Boot Manager, and OS Prober. All right. We're going to Grub install, give it the target. Next thing will be Grub make config. That was pretty fast, really. Okay, so now we're going to make init cpio-p in Linux, and that's why I pointed that a kernel version out in the beginning there. So make sure you use either Linux or Linux LTS or Zen or whatever kernel you got. Now we're going to install all the Xorg stuff or X drivers. Go ahead and speed forward a little bit here. Okay. Back just a second here. I'm going to take out in the XFCE desktop. Mr. Eznix includes the SDDM, the Simple Display Desktop Manager, or I might have said Desktop Display Manager. Anyway, I'm going to exchange that for the LightDM stuff. LightDM GTK Greeter, LightDM GTK Greeter settings. All right, quick check, make sure that's right. Copy and paste that. Okay. Default is off. Skip over a little bit while that's downloading and installing. There, too far. Okay, that's done. Now we're going to get a bunch of software under the general category. And if you'll go through that, that's some pretty nice stuff in this. I mean, it includes a lot of packages that you're not going to know to get on your own, or at least that you're going to have to learn to get on your own. Like right here, Unspell English US. What a nice inclusion. So apparently we're going to get multimedia next. Get forward here. Get forward here. I'm going to add this line right here and change that to enable WPA _supplicant. Even though I'm not on a laptop, I am using a Wi-Fi dongle, so I'll need that service running. I think I've mentioned this before. You used to not have to do that. Enabling network manager was sufficient. But now I have to enable WPA supplicant. All right, let me, if I can get past the install there. Getting close, getting close. 15 to 18. All right, now we're going to get some multimedia stuff. Get forward past that. This is your pulse audio, your decoders, transcoders, plugins, all kinds of stuff. libdvd, CSS. Keep in mind, you don't have to install any of this stuff. Well, you do have to install certain packages to have a working desktop, but you can go through this. You don't want all that. You don't have to get it. We're skipping. That's the purpose of putting that needed in there. There's that WP supplicant I was talking about a while ago. Get forward, forward. Font. Might as well get some fonts. Won't take but a second here. Skip past that. All right, clear that screen. Now it's disable and enable some service. First one we're going to disable is DHC PCD. We're going to enable HaveGed service. I'm going to skip by Bluetooth and cups because I don't have that on this computer. When I do, I'll have to enable that service. Network Manager and WPA supplicant. FS Trimmer here, that would be for your SSDs. Now, I didn't install Firewall D, so I'm not going to have a service to enable. But I am going to go ahead and enable the LightDM Manager. And I believe we're through. I know we are. Exit out of that. We're going to umount -R/MNT. And now it's time to reboot. And you need to remove your ISO, whatever form that is. I'll close that out. Open up Simple Screen Recorder. If you'll look right over here to the left and in the middle of the screen, right there, left of the screen, you'll see a icon pop up saying FAT32. That's a USB. And that's where I'm going to save this file. Okay. That's it. You have now installed Arch Linux pretty much by the book. Nothing else. That. This is EZArcher. Or I should say this is Arch Linux service or guide provided by EZArcher, and there's been very little I've had to do, just very little at all. All right. Okay, so that concludes this video, and you see how easy it was to install Arch Linux. Vanilla Arch. There was no influence from Mr. Eznix, the EZArcher. It's all just a guide that's provided freely by Mr. Eznix, and that's for you to install Arch Linux, the desktop of your choice, if at all, and it makes it just tremendously easy. And I've compared his notes or his guide to my guide, and it's just it's very close. There's only a few options, and you saw that in the video where I did make a few changes, but that's the beauty of having a guide to install to a hard drive. You could, if you know something that's different, you want to add it, or if you know something that you want to add, it's free to add. If you want something that's you need to change, it's easily done. So that's going to do it, like I said, for this video. Peace out, guys. Y'all have a great one. Bye.